Hey, what's happening, y'all, man? It's your boy Rico coming with a big video right now. We have to discuss all of this Deshaun Watson nonsense that's going on, man. So much to talk about. I want to talk about the odds of it happening, what potential trades may be, what we may potentially have to give up, and is it worth it? Like, is he really just that good of a quarterback for it to be worth it? Will we be mortgaging our future to get a quarterback that's great now? We need to discuss what his contract is like, how much he's getting paid, for how long. And then, like, lastly, would he even want to come here? Does he even want to go to Washington? We're going to compare some of the other teams in contention for getting Deshaun Watson, and not only do we have to think about, do we have enough to give the Texans to even make him worth trading to us, but does Deshaun Watson even want to come here? Is he better in comparison to just trading up for a draft pick, or like trading for somebody like Matthew Stafford, who's going to cost less, but is also going to give you less production, less talent, less Super Bowl contention possibility, lower money, lower ceiling? We're going to dive into all of that right now. Let's get it. Alright, so first of all, I'm pretty sure most of y'all know, but at this point, the relationship between Deshaun Watson and the Texans is diminished. I mean, it's gone, it's done. Any hopes of trying to fix that is pretty much done. I mean, they can hold him captive because he is on contract, but he has a no trade clause, so he can determine where he ends up getting traded to, because he could basically be like, you can't trade me until I waive this no trade clause. So unless it's somewhere that he wants to go, then he doesn't have to do it. If they want to trade him somewhere he doesn't want to go, like another rebuild, like the Detroit Lions or something, some type of exchange, Deshaun Watson for Matthew Stafford and some picks, I don't know, then he could be like, I don't want to go there, and not waive his no trade clause. But a lot of this started, as far as the connection between Deshaun Watson and Washington, because of an NFL exec and a guy from ESPN. Because, I mean, Deshaun Watson to Washington has been a thing on Twitter since Deshaun Watson has been even slightly disgruntled. Ever since J.J. Watt apologized to him for the team letting him down, it's been Deshaun Watson to Washington all over Twitter. But now, an NFL exec just said, quote, and for as bad as the NFC East was this year, there's an improving team with $35.4 million cap space, really $50 million once Alex Smith is off the books, and tons of intriguing young players who can make a move. The Washington football team. I think they will be involved in the quarterback sweepstakes in a big way. They know they are close. So, I mean, people outside of the Washington football team organization, people outside of our fan base are seeing that we are literally just a Deshaun Watson away from being a strong Super Bowl contender. People on ESPN have even pointed it out. I believe it was Dominique Foxworth, or was it Ryan Clark? One of them pointed it out like a couple of weeks ago before we even played Tampa Bay, I believe, that we're literally just a quarterback away from being Super Bowl contenders, and getting somebody like a Deshaun Watson, unless you give away all of our star players, would make us a top 4, top 5 team in the NFL, and definitely a good portion of the population's favorites for winning the Super Bowl. Our defense is ready. Our offensive line is good enough. With Deshaun Watson, this team literally is a Super Bowl contender. And what made me like finally do a video on this, because of course I was peeping everything. I was seeing all of the information that was coming out, all the speculation and everything, trying to see if the math works, what we can trade for and all of that. I'm going to dive into that later in this video. But the reason that I was like, you know what? Let me actually talk about this, because like, it's quite possible. It's not impossible. But sportsbetting.com has us with 12-1 odds of landing the 3-time Pro Bowler, which is 8th best in the NFL. I thought we were further out than that. Now, of course, the gap between us and the Jets and the Dolphins, who are 1st and 2nd, are enormous, mostly because of the fact that we have the 19th pick. I mean, the biggest reason that we're very unlikely to get Deshaun Watson is because we have the 19th pick rather than the 11th or better. Having the 19th pick literally almost makes it impossible. Now, it is possible, but it is very unlikely, so let's get that out the way right now. Because we have that 19th pick instead of the 11th or higher, it makes it far less likely for us to get a Deshaun Watson. And like nearly impossible, but it's not impossible. Like I'm going to keep saying that throughout this video. It's not no chance at all. But again, because of that 19th pick, very unlikely. I mean, the Jets have the 2nd overall pick. The Dolphins have literally the Houston Texans' pick, 4th overall, and their own pick that's also in the 1st round. That's higher than 19, even though they had a 10-6 record to our 7-9. But when you win a division, at the highest, you can have a 19th pick in the draft. So, like, the Dolphins have 2 firsts that they can offer. I mean, like, we're just way out of the way. I mean, our 19th pick with another 1st rounder isn't even worth what the Dolphins have with the 4th overall and their 18th, which is a pick before ours. I mean, literally, our 1st round pick this year and our 1st round pick next year, it doesn't even compare to the 2 Dolphins 1st round picks this year. So to just outbid them, we're going to have to even add more value than just our 2 1st round picks. Again, we're going to dive into what we possibly have to give up a little later. But, I mean, just to put that in perspective, who we're competing against. The Jets, the Dolphins, the Bears, the Broncos are 4th, the Colts are 5th. Colts are now in the sweepstakes with Phillip Rivers retiring. There's a lot of teams out there that need quarterbacks. It's crazy. So maybe a lot of them go in free agency and it makes it easier for us to get one in the draft if we don't get Deshaun Watson. But, like, there's a lot of teams out here, man. Even the Saints, if they don't truly actually believe in Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, the Panthers, potentially maybe even the Falcons. We already know the Jaguars are taking Trevor Lawrence. The Patriots are involved. The Vikings may even be involved. The 49ers are definitely involved in the QB sweepstakes. The Raiders may be involved. I don't think John Gruden likes Derek Carr that much. The Steelers could possibly be involved also. I mean, it's a lot of teams out here. We're competing against all of them, and we have less value to give than them, so we will have to up the stakes and give even more picks, even more players, just to beat out these guys. And this whole situation is even crazier because, like, Deshaun Watson is only a few months removed from signing a 4-year contract extension worth $156 million in new money. He got 73.16 of that fully guaranteed at signing. And it's just crazy that with him at 25 years old, with a new contract, a 4-year extension, is looking for a new team. Like, that's unheard of. And per year, his cap hits are pretty steep. Oddly enough, though, next year, as in 2021, this upcoming season, he's only a $15.9 million cap hit. I mean, that is ridiculous value for him. I mean, if we get him and we're only paying him $16 million next year, just imagine what you could do with the rest of the cap space to build around him. Maybe Larry Warford or Joe Thuney at guard. And/or Allen Robinson, Kenny Golladay, Corey Davis at receiver to help Terry McLaurin out. Or like a Levante David at linebacker. And/or Justin Simmons or Anthony Harris at safety. I mean, come on now. You can probably get 2 or 3 of those guys along with Deshaun Watson's money right here, especially after you release Alex Smith and get back $15 million worth of cap space. But then his contract starts to hit top quarterback money, $40 million cap hit as of 2022, and then 2023 it's a $42 million, then 2024 $37, and 2025 $32 million. So that's when he starts making like top quarterback money. But next year, as in 2021, after you trade for him, that immediate season, he's only costing $16 million. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Literally, if you look at all of the quarterback salaries in 2021, Deshaun Watson is the 18th highest paid one. And Alex Smith, if we were to pay him, would be the 15th. Just to put it in perspective. Deshaun Watson next season will be the 18th highest paid quarterback, with Taysom Hill making more money than him next year, Derek Carr, Teddy Bridgewater, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz. Well, Drew Brees is retiring, so he doesn't count. So move everybody up a spot. But he would barely be making more money than Marcus Mariota, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. I mean, come on now. How do you not take a flyer on that? But the problem here lies in what we have to give up to get him, man. And that's the serious problem about all of this. Deshaun Watson is one of only 4 quarterbacks in NFL history to throw for more than 4,500 passing yards, more than 30 touchdowns, fewer than 10 interceptions, and average more than 8.5 yards per pass in a single season. And Watson is the only one out of that 4 to do it on a losing team. And not just a losing team. We're talking 4-12 losing. 12 losses. Come on now. On top of that, Deshaun Watson finished the season with an NFL high 4,823 yards passing. Like, he literally led the league in passing yards, but he had a 4-2 record. He's the first player to lead the NFL in passing yards with 12 plus losses since Jeff George did it for the 1997 Raiders. I mean, he's making history for being so great while his team is so legendarily bad. He's doing the most with the least out of any quarterback in the NFL point blank period. I mean, they gave away D-Hop. Will Fuller can't stay healthy. David Johnson, who D-Hop was traded for, who we assumed wouldn't be able to stay healthy, didn't stay healthy. The offensive line isn't great. The team overall just isn't great. Again, our team has a better offensive line, better overall defense, better receivers by default, just by the fact we have Terry McLaurin. Better running back group with how productive J.D. McKissic is in the passing game. Antonio Gibson, when healthy, was better than any running back the Texans had, and at the very least more durable. So it's just like Watson on his team literally equals Super Bowl. He's doing the most with the least last year. I mean, that's why J.J. Watt apologized to him as they were walking off the field the last game. And it wasn't even J.J. Watt's fault, because J.J. Watt was great, but the team overall was just terrible. And they all owed Deshaun Watson an apology. They should have all took him out to dinner. He should literally have 50 dinners lined up. More than that, front office especially needs to take them on 5 dinners each, because it's mainly their fault. I mean, the reason that there's so much tension and there's no coming back from all of this is because they didn't consult him on any hires. I mean, it was already the D-Hop trade that made him, he said that put him on 2 out of 10 as far as level of anger, but not consulting him on hiring Nick Caserio as the GM and not even giving Eric Bieniemy consideration until he went on this entire tirade threatening to demand a trade. That's what put him on 10. And it looks like they're at least going to give Eric Bieniemy a chance, but first of all, they're not likely to sign him. And even if they do, they only did it because he demanded a trade. Why would he trust them again? So the ties are severed. But, I mean, the Texans aren't just going to give him away for pennies. I mean, you got to remember, Jay Cutler was traded for 2 first-round picks in the 3rd round. Deshaun Watson is way better than Jay Cutler ever wished of being. So if the Texans are smart, which they aren't, I mean, for even getting themselves in a situation, they're not very smart. But if they can at least be relatively smart, you start the trade conversations with 4 first rounders. I mean, he's just entering his prime. It's not even like he's at the tail end of it. 25 years old. He's only gonna get better from here. But those 4 first rounders is probably where they're like telling everybody what they want and they're gonna let everybody outbid each other. It may come down from that. It may end up being like 2 first rounders and a Pro Bowl caliber player, or 2 or something, just a star player. Maybe 3 first rounders and a star player, or a pretty good player, a starting caliber player, something like that. So, I mean, we could give up 2 first rounders, maybe 3, and then somewhere like a mid-round pick, maybe multiple mid to late round picks added in, and then you give away maybe like a Matt Ioannidis, a Montez Sweat. I would really hope to not give away like a Terry McLaurin, a Chase Young, a Montez Sweat, or Matt Ioannidis, so we can avoid it. Out of those 4, Matt Ioannidis is definitely the most tradable player, even though I would really love to not have to trade Matt Ioannidis. I mean, on the contract that he's on, how talented he is, how much he produces with the limited snaps he gets. Now, he's not a great run stopper, and he's just seems to never give us a full 16-game season. But, like, if we can avoid having to trade away a Matt Ioannidis, I would. But at the same time, I mean, hey, 2 first rounders, a 3rd, and Matt Ioannidis, I'm doing it in a heartbeat. I'm sorry. Love Matt Ioannidis, but Deshaun Watson gets you more wins than Matt Ioannidis, those 2 potential first round picks, and whatever mid-late round pick that's included. But I'm not even sure that's what the Texans would take. I'm pretty sure they're asking for more, because again, we have to compete against teams like Miami that have 2 first round picks this draft. So we'd have to give up like 3 first round picks, and just it's ridiculous. It's very unlikely, but if anybody can do it, Ron Rivera possibly can. I mean, if I had to have faith in anybody that we've had coaching our team, leading our team within the last 10 years, I feel like Ron Rivera is our best chance, especially with how the roster is currently constructed to where we're literally like a quarterback away. But we're a quarterback away with how the roster is now. Don't trade away star players and now you're not a quarterback away anymore. You trade away like Chase Young or Montez Sweat or Terry McLaurin, or a combination of 2 of those guys, or like a Matt Ioannidis and somebody else, then now you're possibly not a quarterback away. And that kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, still, you technically win the trade, but it's hard to do that trade when Deshaun Watson isn't immediately on a team that's ready to win a Super Bowl right now. But yeah, man, you never know. Ron Rivera could probably sell him on the culture, and maybe Deshaun Watson can be like, hey, man, y'all are asking for too much. I definitely want to go to DC. Make it happen. I prefer to go to DC, and y'all give up less value than for me to go to Miami, and you get more value in return. Like, Deshaun Watson may have enough power to force the Texans to take less value in return for a team that he wants to go to. Because, again, he has that no trade clause, and it's up to him to waive it. So they're going to have to literally pick a team that he wants to go to. And trading him to a rebuilding team is more than likely what he doesn't want to do, because that's going to be very similar to what he's dealing with for the Texans. And whatever team he goes to is giving up their first-round picks, so it can't be a rebuilding team. They need to be ready to win now, because they're not going to have the first-round picks to build a great team around them. How the team looks currently when that trade happens is basically the team he's going to have to rock with. That's why I don't really see the Jets. I mean, the Texans would love the Jets, but I don't see Deshaun Watson wanting to go there, because once Deshaun Watson gets traded to the Jets, now Deshaun Watson is on the Jets, who don't have first-round picks to add more talent around them. You know what I'm saying? But they do have cap space. But, I mean, it's going to be hard to sell him on DC. I mean, because you could always go to New York, whose weather is only slightly worse, but a bigger market, a more entertaining city to be in. Or you can go to Miami, no taxes, warmer weather all year round, and a better team, at least record-wise. I mean, they went 10-6. We went 7-9. I feel like if you take away quarterback, we may be better than the Dolphins, but if you're just purely looking at record, they're technically a better team, and again, their weather is way better, and no taxes. And he's from Georgia, born and raised, so he might prefer that Miami weather over the DC weather, unless he just likes cold weather. But I mean, being from Georgia, playing for Clemson, playing for Houston, I don't think he's necessarily ready for snow, but you never know. He may not care about those factors. Being in warm Miami, being in a big market like New York, may not matter to him. And DC would be a nice little middle right there. But I don't think people's talking about that, though. My previous point that whatever team he goes to, their draft picks, all of their capital to build talent around him are going to be depleted. The team he's going to, the team he would go to, would have to give up first round picks and players potentially to get him. So it's not like he's going to this team and now they're like, all right, let's build around him. That team is basically going to be how it is, unless the team he goes to has a lot of cap space like we do to build around him, and a really good coaching staff and front office that knows how to draft really well and be able to pick up Pro Bowl caliber players the 2nd through the 7th rounds, which is also something we have. So hopefully somebody can give him that spill and make him want to come to us, because the only way we're getting him is if he wants to come to us. We have nothing more to offer than a lot of these other teams, like I spoke about earlier in the video. It's literally going to have to take us reaching out to Deshaun Watson and him wanting to come to DC, and him forcing the Texans' hand to take less value for us rather than more value from somebody else. Now, remember, Watson has torn his ACL twice. He did it in college 7 years ago, but I mean, that doesn't really matter because he clearly recovered from it. And he did it in 2017, his rookie season, which cut it short. But as we've seen in 2020, he's bounced back from that, and it's almost like it never happened. So I'm not too worried about it, but do take into the fact that he has had 2 ACL injuries. And I wouldn't necessarily consider him injury prone. They were just both freak accidents. I mean, the one in his rookie season, I believe, was in practice. And then also, his offensive line has been terrible there. I mean, they made the trade for Laramie Tunsil. Offensive line is still worse than what we have, and then we have the cap space to make it better. But even if we don't, the exact offensive line that we just finished with in 2020 is still better than what the Texans have and what the Texans may have next year, even with draft picks. So, hey man, depending on the price is my answer. Don't just give up everything, because then, like I said earlier, we won't just be a QB away. You get Deshaun Watson, but trade away your best players. Now Deshaun Watson isn't the final puzzle piece. Now you have holes elsewhere, and you're limited in draft capital and cap space in the future with his contract and the picks you gave up to get him. So, I mean, if the price is right, do it in a heartbeat. Again, I mean, 2 first rounders, a 2nd rounder, and a 3rd rounder, and Matt Ioannidis, I'm doing it. I'm sorry. Got to. Especially the fact that he's only making a little over $15 million next year. I mean, that's a huge Super Bowl window. You get Deshaun Watson, now you're more likely to get free agents. I mean, Allen Robinson's going to be like, hey, Deshaun Watson's over there with a great defense. I'll sign there. Levante David. Oh, this defense is just missing a better free safety and a dominant linebacker like me. Let me go to Washington so I can hurry up and get this Super Bowl ring while the window's open. Deshaun Watson on $15 million and attracting free agents to come over here while our cap space is great. Watson's $15 million literally would directly replace Alex Smith $15 million. We could literally be the free agent destination of the 2021 offseason after we trade for Deshaun Watson if we could. Anthony Harris might be like, hey man, Deshaun Watson, Terry McLaurin, Allen Robinson, why wouldn't I add me, one of the best free safeties in the NFL, top 5, and make this defense elite, arguably the best defense in the NFL. And let's go on this Super Bowl run. You know what I'm saying? So remember that too. Deshaun Watson will bring more players, will bring more free agents, and they'll be far more likely to ask for less money. Because for an honest chance of winning a Super Bowl, I would take less money. A lot of players have shown throughout history that they're willing to take a little less money for a chance at the Super Bowl. So remember that too. Allen Robinson would normally charge us without Deshaun Watson maybe like $15 million a year or maybe more. With Deshaun Watson, maybe willing to take like $10 or $11 million a year, or at least set up his contract to where he takes less money this first year and then more money later. You know what I'm saying? So just remember that. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video, man. Just wanted to talk to y'all about this whole Deshaun Watson situation, how likely it is, his contract situation, all of that. I just wanted to dive into all of it. I've been seeing it all over Twitter, all over the news the past few days, and I just felt like it was finally the right time to put it all together. Because again, the catalyst for this video was seeing how we were 8th in odds of getting them. I didn't even think we were that close. With that 19th overall pick, I thought we were somewhere in the teens at the highest. But 8th is very encouraging, honestly. And with 2 new GM-like faces in the organization, they're going to want to go get their quarterback. And I know with his connections to Matthew Stafford, I mean, he's literally the one that drafted him to the Lions. We could also be in play for Matthew Stafford, but I definitely prefer to give up more value for Deshaun Watson than to give up less value for Matthew Stafford. And I'm a UGA fan, but I just want my best chance of winning the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford is good enough to win a Super Bowl with, but you're going to have to add pieces to him. I think honestly, on how the roster is currently constructed, without the draft, without free agency, our ceiling with Matthew Stafford is like 11 wins and maybe a playoff win or 2. But literally right now, exactly with this roster, with Deshaun Watson, we're Super Bowl contenders and can very likely win a Super Bowl. Like, I mean, honestly, literally top 4 team in the NFL. So, man, I really appreciate y'all viewing this video. Please like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, please subscribe. If you haven't, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification every time I release a video like this. Every time I release the several film sessions I'm going to do throughout this off season. The several live streams I'm going to keep doing every Friday, every Sunday, and maybe even more. I plan on doing like an interactive mock draft where y'all pick, where we're going to do like a survey for each pick, and then whichever one wins, we're going to make that pick. So we're going to do like a mock draft together. And then speaking of mock drafts, I'm going to do at least 5 mock drafts throughout this off season, all different types. So make sure y'all subscribe and stay tuned for all of that. And of course, man, I appreciate everybody that helps out the channel, everybody that pulls up to every video, likes every video, leaves a comment every time, pulls up to all the live streams, everybody that donates to the channel, everybody that's a sponsor, especially the Pro Bowl sponsors who names you see scrolling on the screen right now, man. Really appreciate y'all. Catch y'all later. Please get in the comments and let me know how y'all feel about everything. And hey, man, again, check out my new outro video, man. I'm out.